All right, guys, it is Wednesday afternoon, so here's what's going on today. If you'll notice, this is my air compressor, and there seems to be something missing here. Always having fun. So yesterday, I was trying to sandblast this frame, areas of it, and I was giving this thing breaks. I'd run that compressor for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'd let it cool down about 30 or 45 minutes in between. Then I'd come back out and blast some more. So I did that 3 or 4 times, and then I got to the point where I only needed like another 5 more minutes that had been done. I was like, oh, I can do that. So I went ahead and done it, and I noticed the compressor was making noise. Before I could get to it and shut it off, it started making a metal on metal squealing sound. The RPM slowed down, and then it stopped, and it popped the breaker. So I come over here and I took the air filter pods off, all 3 cylinders, and I shot PB Blaster down inside. And I reached back there and I grabbed the pulley, and it actually turned over real easy, like there was no problem. I was like, what the hell? It acted like it seized up. So I let it set about 30 or 40 minutes, and I turned the breaker back on, turned the switch back on, and it came on. But this cylinder here is making noise. It's making a clicking sound. So anyway, I went ahead and finished blasting the frame, and it, kicked on and ran for a little bit, and then built pressure and kicked off like it's supposed to. It's just making noise. Now that compressor is always puts off a lot of heat because it's air cooled, and there's no airflow in this garage, and I had the door shut because I didn't want any blast media coming in here. And I had a little fan sitting on my stool right here blowing up there. It's just a little bitty round, oscillating fan, but I had it locked where it just blew straight on it. But it just wasn't enough, But anyway, so this morning I come out and I'm trying to use my air tool, and it's like taking a lot longer to build pressure, it seems like. And the sound was getting louder, it seemed like. So I walked in here while it was running, and smoke was just billowing out of that one cylinder, like it was smoking. So blow by. So anyway, I went ahead and pulled the cylinder off and pulled the head off, and it's not good. So this piston on this side doesn't look too bad, but if you look right there, that is pretty chewed up looking, especially down in the ringland there, or ring groove, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, so that thing is pretty fried right there. So this looks terrible, but I really don't hardly feel that at all. So right here, now this up here is messed up. Cylinder itself does not look too good. Has a couple of lines wore in it. You can see the hot spot right there. You can see that hot mark right there. There's a couple of bad grooves wore in it on that side, and really bad one on this side. So I thought maybe the ring broke, but I got all 3 rings off of it without hurting them. But this thing here, this could be the clicking that I'm hearing. I just don't know for sure. So this thing is not seated down there where it needs to be. So I'm basically gonna clean everything up real good, but I'm gonna take the 2 Allen bolts out of this if I can get them out without breaking them. And I'm actually gonna clean all this up, but I'm gonna turn this over. I'm gonna try turning that over because it'll be, aiming that direction at that point. I don't know if that's a clicking or not. It sounds like it. So I'm gonna try that, but I'm gonna clean all the carbon off. I'm gonna clean all the carbon off the piston. I'm gonna go in here with some sandpaper, like some 180 grit, and I'm gonna try to work this edge just a little bit to get where it's, sticking down there. Try to smooth this up and smooth this edge up. And then I'm actually gonna install the piston the opposite direction, 180 degrees. And then I'm going to take some, I haven't decided yet. I might do 220 grit paper or something and go in there and work that. I don't have a hone that small, but anyway, I'm going to try to clean this up just a little bit, get that hot spot knocked off there. But I'm just going to put it back together and try it. I got nothing to lose at this point. I mean, it only took about 5 or 10 minutes to get this apart, so it's not that big of a deal. But I'm gonna get my mic out, and I'm gonna check my caliper, and I'm gonna check these rings. And if these 2 rings are the same, I'm gonna split those. I'm gonna put, like this one was the top one, that was the middle one. I'm going to change this one to the top one and this one the middle one, but I'm going to mic them first and see, make sure they're not different you know, size, but I'm just going to try to change the rotation of some stuff just to see if I can get some more life out of it, you know what I mean? My initial idea yesterday when it first happened was I would buy a new set of rings and new head gaskets and stuff and just re-ring all 3 cylinders. But, you know, at this point that's in pretty bad shape. Now I know you can buy those engines separately, but I don't really have the money, so I don't really want to do that. I could afford to buy some piston rings, you know what I mean? But as far as replacing that whole unit, I don't have the money. But I keep the oil changed in this. I change the oil in this every year, so this is still good. The clicking sounds definitely in the cylinder, because I was listening to it yesterday and it's like right on the top of it, and I really think it's that valve or whatever that is. It reminds me of reeds out of a dirt bike. I don't know if that's what that is or not, but anyway, this is where I'm at, and not having a good day, man, but what do you do? Thanks for watching. Alright, so I got it all back together and turned it on, and it ran. It's still making that clicking sound. It's amazing the amount of heat this thing builds up just from filling. I drained all the air out of it before I took it apart, but just to get to 130 psi, you can feel the heat off of it, how hot it is. So it's pretty amazing, the amount of heat. But it is 97 degrees outside today, and it's really hot in this garage, so that's, you know, it's not helping. But I ended up, I took sandpaper to the piston, because if you saw the gouge marks on the edge where the rings go, it was pretty rough looking, so I smoothed all that up, edged it real nice. I cleaned the carbon off the top of the piston. Then I went through and I used 600 grit sandpaper on the entire piston, just cleaned it up pretty nice. And I took the rings and I cleaned all those up. The top 2 rings were the same size. I calipered them out and everything. Anyway, I kind of scotch-brighted them up a little bit, and I switched those. I put the top one in the middle and the middle one on the top. I also took I'm going to call it a reed valve. I don't know what it is. It reminds me of a reed valve in an old 2-stroke dirt bike. I flipped that upside down. It was 2 little Allen head screws. I turned it upside down and it fits better. It's a little tighter to it. And I took the piston and turned it 180 degrees. So I offset all the rings like I normally would, like on a car engine. But I put it back together, and it's still making a clicking sound, but it is not blowing smoke out like blow-by. So its time is numbered on this thing. I mean, it's not going to last, but it'll get me by for a while. I didn't have anything to lose, you know what I mean? I didn't spend any money, and I mean, it didn't hurt to try. I spent, I don't know, maybe an hour on it, but it's pretty easy to mess with. It reminds me of an old 2-stroke dirt bike. There's nothing to it, you know what I mean? But anyway, that's fixed. Now I need to blow my filters out and put all those back on. But man, I'm kind of bummed. I've used that compressor a lot, so I mean, it's, you know, it's got a lot of hours of use on it, a lot of hours of use. So to get it to last as long as it has is kind of remarkable, I guess. But I had one before this one that I had for 20 years, I think. So I guess I don't know. I don't think they make anything like they used to, but what do I know? Anyway, guys, I think that's going to have to do. It built all its pressure up, other than it's still clicking, you know, so it is working, but I didn't care if it exploded. I just don't care. It's not like I have that engine in a car and I'm driving down the road and have to worry about a rod coming through the block with that. It's stationary. I don't care. I had nothing to lose. So honestly, with the bad as the grooves were in the cylinders and stuff, and the piston kind of tore up like it was, to me, this whole unit needs to be changed out, but I don't know. I'm basically going to use it until it explodes or until it can't do anything else. I'm sure it starts seizing up again, I guess, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm done with it. But anyway, thanks for watching.